Chapter 5. Growing Plants. You can see plants all around in the playground, in gardens, in your house, the roadsides. You have learned that plants and plant products meet our everyday needs. It is for this reason that we grow more and more plants. Like all the other living things, plants also produce more of their own kind by the process of reproduction. You have learned that reproduction helps in the continuity of a kind. Plants reproduce mainly in three ways: by seeds, by spores, by body parts. Life skills. Plants are our green friends. Plant a sapling on every birthday and make the earth a greener place. Reproduction by seeds. A flower of a plant makes seeds. Flowers grow into fruits that contain seeds. Indeed, the flower is the most beautiful part of a plant, and its most important function is to make seeds. Some flowers are colored, and some have a pleasant smell. This enables insects to get attracted to flowers. In this lesson, you will learn how insects help flowers to become fruits. Let us first learn about the parts of a flower. A flower that has the following four parts of whorls is called a complete flower. Hibiscus and rose lily are complete flowers. Sepals. Sepals are green leaf-like structures found at the base of the flower. They protect a flower when it is a bud. As the bud opens up, the sepals curl back and form a cup. Petals. Petals are the brightly colored part of the flower and are sometimes sweet-smelling. Their main function is to attract insects. Stamen. Stamen is the male part of the flower. It consists of a long filament and a swollen head on the top, which is called anther. A yellow powder called pollen grains is present in the anther. Carpel or pistil. Carpel is the female part of the flower. It lies in the center of the flower. It has a sticky top called stigma, long tube called style, and an ovary at the bottom. Within the ovary lie ovules. A flower in which any of the parts or whorls are missing is called an incomplete flower. Cucumber and date plants have incomplete flowers. From flower to fruit. You must have seen insects visiting flowers to collect the sweet juice present in them, nectar. When an insect sits on a flower, some of the pollen grains stick to it. The insect carries the pollen grains to the stigma of another flower of the same kind. This process of transferring pollen grains from the stamen to the stigma is called pollination. The pollen grains grow a tube that moves from the stigma through the style to reach the ovary. The pollen grains fuse with the ovules to form seeds. This process of the pollen grains fusing with the ovules is called fertilization. Structure of a seed. New plants can grow from seeds. Given below is the structure of a seed. Seed coat. It is the outer covering of the seed that protects the baby plant inside the seed. The seed coat has a tiny hole through which a seed gets air and water. Seed leaves or cotyledons. They can be 2 or 1 in number. They store food for the growing baby plant. Seeds like bean, pea and rajma have 2 cotyledons and are called dicotyledonous seeds. Seeds of rice, wheat and maize have only 1 cotyledon. They are called monocotyledonous. Embryo. It is the tiny baby plant found between the cotyledons. It develops into a tiny plant or seedling. From seed to plant. All seeds do not grow its plants. Some are destroyed by harsh weather conditions, some are eaten by animals, and some do not get the right conditions to grow. The process by which a seed grows into a seedling is called germination. For a seed to germinate, it requires air, moisture, and warmth. During the process of germination, the seed absorbs water from the soil. This softens the seed coat. A small root or radicle emerges from the seed and grows downwards. Next, a small shoot or plumule emerges from the seed and grows upwards. A seedling uses the food stored in the cotyledons for its growth until green leaves appear on the shoot. Once the green leaves begin to prepare food by the process of photosynthesis, the cotyledons dry and fall off. Dispersal: how seeds travel. Seeds require enough space, air, water, and warmth to germinate. For seeds to get enough of these, it is essential that they get carried away from the parent plant. Dispersal is the scattering of seeds over a large area. If all the seeds were to fall and germinate below the parent plant, there would be overcrowding. Dispersal of seeds happens in many ways. Wind seeds that are dispersed by wind are small and light. The seeds of cotton and dandelion have tufts of hair, while the seeds of maple are winged. This makes it easy for them to be carried away by wind. Water plants that grow in or near water disperse their seeds and fruits by water. Seeds of plants like lotus and coconut have a spongy or fibrous covering that helps them to float on water. Explosion. Some seeds grow in pods. When the pod is ripe, it dries up and then explodes forcefully, throwing out the seeds in all directions. The seeds of peas, beans, and balsam are dispersed in this way. Animals: some seeds, like cocklebur, have spines or hooks. These seeds stick to the bodies of animals and get carried away to far-off places. When birds and animals eat fruits, the undigested seeds pass through their digestive system along with the waste. Reproduction by spores. Some plants do not have seeds as they do not bear flowers. They have tiny seed-like structures called spores. Spores help these plants to reproduce. Mushrooms, molds, and ferns have spores. Spores are very light and can be dispersed by wind easily. Reproduction from body parts, vegetative reproduction. Some plants reproduce from their body parts and not through seeds. Such a method of reproduction is called vegetative reproduction. By roots, carrot, radish, turnip, and dahlia are examples of plants whose roots can give rise to new plants. By stems, rose, money plant, hibiscus, potato, and onion can grow into new plants from their stems. Potato is an underground stem with buds or eyes on it. A piece of potato with an eyes, when placed in moist soil, can grow into a new plant. By leaves, the leaves of plants like bryophyllum and begonia have young plantlets along the margins of their leaves. When these plantlets come in contact with moist soil, they develop into complete plants. Factopedia. Through a technique called tissue culture, a complete plant can be grown from a single cell. Agriculture. Farmers grow plants in fields on a large scale for food and other purposes. The practice of growing plants on a large scale for food and other purposes is called agriculture. Similar plants that are grown in large quantities over a large area are called crops. Farmers grow different crops in different seasons. Kharif crops. These crops grow in summers. Rice, jute, and maize are Kharif crops. These crops depend largely on monsoon rain. Rabi crops. These are crops which grow in winters. What wheat, beans, legumes, and peas are Rabi crops. They do not depend on monsoon rains. Factopedia. April 22nd is celebrated as Earth Day. Factopedia. Unwanted plants called weeds grow between crops. The Y compete with the crops for nutrients. Growing crops. Farmers work hard to grow healthy crops that can give a good produce. To get a healthy crop, a farmer does the following things: prepares the soil well before sowing the seeds, uses good quality of seeds, waters the crop at the right time and in the right amount, adds fertilizers and manures to the soil, sprays insecticides and pesticides to protect the crops from insects and pests. The crops are protected from stray and grazing animals by proper fencing. The crops are harvested at the right time. The harvested crop is stored properly to protect it from moisture, rodents, and microorganisms. Remember, a good crop is a nation's wealth. New words: dispersal of seeds, the scattering of seeds away from the parent plant. Pollination, the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of a flower. Cotyledons, seed leaves that store food for the baby plant. Embryo, the baby plant inside the cotyledons. Germination, the change of a seed to a seedling. Fertilization, the fusion of the pollen grain with the ovules. Vegetative reproduction, the production of new plants from body parts and not seeds. Agriculture, the practice of growing plants on a large scale for food or other purpose. Crops, plants of the same kind, grown in a large area. Kharif crops, crops that are grown in summers. Rabi crops, crops that are grown in winters. A quick recall: plants produce more of their own kinds from seeds, spores, or body parts. Flower is the reproductive part of a plant. Flowers produce seeds. A complete flower has 4 whorls, sepals, petals, stamen, and carpel. A seed has a seed coat, cotyledons, and embryo. A seed requires air, moisture, and warmth to germinate. To prevent overcrowding, so that seeds get the essential conditions to germinate, they need to be dispersed. The different agents of dispersal are micas, wind, water, explosion, and animals. Some plants reproduce vegetatively from their body parts, like stems, roots, and leaves. Different crops are grown in different seasons. They can be grouped as Rabi or Kharif crops. A farmer works hard to get a good crop yield.